All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sal. You are watching some SalTV, Team Fortress TV, wherever you're watching this. I don't even know where I'm going to upload it yet. But regardless, this is going to be a team interview with Vector Gaming after the ESEA invite season is over. You guys are not going to land, but we're not worried about that. We're going to be talking about how much fun you're having and why you're staying together so long. So let's start with kind of the history of the team. You know, why was it started? Schwan, you want to start us off?
Yeah, absolutely. So the team was started. Oh God, someone's got to correct me here. It was started in season 9. I don't remember how many. 2 years ago, guys. How long, Mayo?
I think over 2 years. I think it was my freshman year here, so 2.5. Something like that.
So, and the interesting thing about the team is me and Mayo had success, in quotes. I think Mayo had much more success than me, but I had somewhat. I played for Red Flag in intermediate. When 38 Special was coming onto the scene, I was playing with him and Anifi and Wrath. So I had an IM background. Mayo had the Space Cows background, which I'm sure some people remember. I think you were called mediocre at best at some point, Mayo?
Yeah.
Who else was on that team?
I was Frisk. We had Fixer for like a very short period.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think. I think like Equals D.
Oh, absolutely.
He ended up playing like Medic for some team with Kermit on it that either almost won intermediate or won like the season after we played, something like that.
Yeah, Equals is a good guy.
Yeah, Equals is great. I kept wanting to get Equals to back up for our team, but he was always a ringer for us. But regardless, so me and Mayo had some success prior to starting an open team, and I don't necessarily remember why we wanted to start, because we were both in IM. I think I got kicked off Red Flag because they picked up Blank, which I only spent one season in open, and then I went to Red Flag, who was like in the middle of the road. Rep. Oh yeah, Rep. Oh my God, it wasn't Blank, it was Rep. You're right. But yeah, I got cut for Rep, and then I was like, oh man, I want to make a team with my friends. And I want to just move up real well. And the hard part was my best friend in the world, Mile, which I'm sure everyone knows that by now, was already super successful. And at the time, the Space Cows were doing really well. And Mile, was this around the time that Valen was trying to get you to do like some invite shit?
It wasn't really invite, but yeah, Valen had tried to like organize some super team or with like an IM super team, kind of the same kind of thing, and he wanted me to be on it, and some other people.
Was it?
No.
Who else was Valen trying to get on that team, Mile? RR? Is that right?
Yeah, so like RR, and then Dunn and Shrew were the other two main people, and they were like, that was their open season where they basically came out and everyone found out that they were amazing. So
yeah, basically
in the same off season that Schwan and I were trying to make our first team together, that was also happening with me, and so
so
the weird thing, kind of a weird thing.
Yeah, so the weird thing is I wanted to start an open team with my friend, but my friend Mile was better than me and had an opportunity to probably win IM. And this can be a general theme with the history of Vector, but I had to do a lot of convincing. So I had to sell Mile on why, instead of joining probably the best IM team, I want you to make a brand new team with me in Open, and we have 2 players. So we did that, and we wanted to have as many friends as possible, and that's kind of how Vector started, just me and Mile deciding that we need to start over fresh, and instead of joining everyone else's projects, make one of our own, and try to see how far we can take it.
Well, you've taken it pretty far so far. Of course, you came up from intermediate into invite this season, and of course, you had the beginning of the season interview where you're like, "Yeah, we don't expect to win any games," and then you came in and won 4 towards the end, which is pretty cool. We're gonna switch gears a little bit though, and I want to ask you guys about pugging, which is of course playing those pickup games on like TF2 Pug NA and all the other channels. How important has that been to you guys?
So I think the person that needs to answer this question is Dougie. Dougie, tell the people. Tell the people how many lobbies you have.
All right. Well, first off, we'll start out with saying I'm also Swift with Sut for all the lobbiers out there. I played a lot of lobbies. I mean, I can't necessarily say that lobby is necessarily the answer, by all means. That lobby is forming good habits and such. But I didn't really know where else to go as far as community-wise, which I think it doesn't really matter for all the newer players as long as you're pugging, you're playing, and you're playing with people in your skill bracket, and you feel like you're improving. And I mean that's kind of all that matters. Another thing though is I don't think it really matters necessarily if you play the same class every time, because in pugs, playing all the different classes really teaches you the importance of what your class needs to get done.
I think you're missing the most important part of your lobbying experience. Isn't that where you met a few people that you might be in contact with today?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, Hibachi and I met in the lobby. Basically, almost everyone I started playing with until I joined back.
That was our first team back in Open, was me just meeting you and Java in the lobby randomly. Said, do you want to make an Open team? And then we did it.
Yeah. So I want to point this out to people. Dougie, let's hear a number. How many lobbies?
Probably like
Well,
2,800.
yeah, Dougie has
3,000?
over 2,000. I have over 1,000 myself. Java has way more than I do, I think, so.
Yeah. So
Back
lobby.
then, Pug and A was a lot more exclusive. There wasn't Mix or Pug or all these like newbie mixes, so lobbies was pretty much if you wanted to start playing anything that wasn't a pub, you had to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would never get picked in Pug and A. That's the problem. I would add up multiple times in a row and just not get picked.
To
Which
lobby in a
happens
way.
lot.
I'm trying to
anyways
wonder
in
here, like, because I would go captain in Pug NA occasionally, and I think you were in there, but I just never knew anybody's skill level at all, unless it was like an invite player. So I was like, who do I pick? I don't know.
And that's understandable. Like if people recognize invite names, why pick anyone other than an invite player? I mean, that's completely understandable. The only problem I think is the circle jerk pugs, but that's understandable.
That is another story. But so that's the kind of thing I wanted to point out is Dougie, Hibachi, and Jay, 3 people that are on our team right now. They met what, probably 2 years ago? I mean, literally thousands of lobbies. They met the right people, and now they're an invite with us. So I thought it was kind of weird. And also, me and Mile come from a really heavy pugging background because before, we did all the IM, Red Flag, Space Cow stuff. We were in a pug group called PCGN Pugs. And it wasn't CP Pugs, the more famous one. It was PCGN. It was like an invite-only group. And when I started playing, when I got in, it was basically, you would come home from high school, which was what I was in at the time, and then we would just start pugging. And we wouldn't stop until the end of the day, and then the next day we do the same thing. And we just would not stop pugging. And that's where me and Mile came from. That's also where people like Ben came from. Z-Clips came from there as well. Squid came from that pug group. So those are kind of the names that came out of that pug group. So like, the really important thing here is like pugging not only makes you better as a player, but it also sets you up for the connections that you'll need later on. Because I mean, we just started off so big. I mean, literally, Dougie was lobbying for fuck's sake. So like, it's so important to make those connections.
Okay, and of course, there's a lot of good avenues to do that now, right? You've got the TF2 mix, the newbie mixes, the new map pugs.
Exactly. There's even more resources than there used to be. Like, the only thing that doesn't exist anymore are the Steam group pug groups like PCGN or CP, but lobby is a way more efficient system anyway.
And I even think that, like, even now, even these days, there are some pug groups and, I don't know, just friends playing the game with 12 people or whatever, and it's still a popular thing.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, so you guys met each other. Was there anybody else that you met who may have gotten on the team or like fallen off along the way, or was it pretty much this whole core the whole time?
Yeah. So that's where things get really iffy. So the interesting part about the team is, if anyone's heard us talk about it before, is we're a core group of players. We don't cut to get to the top. We've never picked up anyone significantly better than us. Kind of what we've been cheerleading for a while now. But we've cut a decent amount of people, and a decent amount of people have left our team out of frustration. And we'll get into that later, but I just want to kind of mention some of the past players. So one of our past players was Jabber, and he was crucial. I hope he's watching this. Maybe he will. But he was crucial to our team back in Open. He was a really, really solid medic, and he was just, like I said, crucial in Open. He did a good job of trying to coordinate us, and eventually, sadly, he had some fiance issues, if I remember correctly, and
Like, did
he had
get
some
one?
pretty.
Was that the issue?
Well, I think he lost
Or
one.
maybe just actually married him or something. I don't know.
I
Something
think
weird.
I think something tragic happened.
Oh.
I think he was engaged and then was no longer engaged, and that hit him kind of hard, and we kind of had to move on, just like he did.
Now I
but
feel really bad, thanks.
yeah, it kind of sucks, but it also introduced us to the gem that we had at all the time, which was Old School. He goes by OSVG. Literally nobody knows him. He was on Team Fallback, which is an irrelevant team that no one probably knows either. However, he's always been a friend of ours, and he is the best backup that anyone could ever ask for. He will buy premium, and he will buy the league fee an hour before we need him. He's always there. If we need him for a ringer, he's there. He is committed to helping us succeed, and without him, we wouldn't have made it through the season when Jabber had to leave for personal issues. And ever since then, we used Old School constantly to fill in and like just save our asses on multiple occasions. So Old School is I believe he's still on our roster right now if people check. And
he is.
no one knows him, but he is so unbelievably reliable, and he is a great asset to our team.
Cool. So was there anybody else on the list of old players and old friends?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go through this list more quickly, but we picked up Fell, which I'm sure a lot of people know Fell. He played for the Space Whales, and the reason we got Fell is because Miles' connection with the Space Cows, and this is where the theme of selling people comes in as well. I had to sell Fell, for all intents and purposes, an invite player that he should join, our shitty, like, we just got into IM, if I'm remembering correctly. And we needed a medic, and we picked up Fell, who was what I would consider way above our skill level. And the problem with Fell is that although he was extremely reliable, and he was pretty good at tactics and coordinating our team, he was too much like me in a lot of ways. And I think, Mile, do you want to talk about kind of the Fell and me dynamic and how that might have been a little depressing?
Not really.
You know? Okay, because I thought that was a big deal of like why Fell wasn't appropriate for us, because he would. No, you don't remember?
Because you probably had two alpha dogs on one team. I can already tell you that.
Well, Fell was, yeah. I mean, Fell and Schwan were kind of like the people who
Needed to be heard, yeah.
would try to put people in their place if they were like doing some weird stuff or I don't know, off-classing when they didn't want. And I mean, maybe Fell taught Schwan how to be how he is. So who knows?
Every team needs one of those guys, though, and I think that's why we kind of struggled early in the season, because we didn't have a Schwan type.
We will definitely get to that. But the problem was, Fell was an extremely strong leader, and he was not afraid to call people out on their mistakes or do corrections. And the problem was, neither was I. So it resulted in me and Fell just bombarding people with if they fucked up. Like if they fucked up, they got it from me and they got it from Fell, and then it was real bad. So we didn't do very well that IM season, to no surprise. And then Fell left the team after that. He did not enjoy probably the back half of that season at all, but he stayed on it to make sure we finished out the season, so tons of respect to him. But then he left our team, and I hadn't seen him on Steam since. So if anyone has contact with Fell, let me know. Shoot that guy a message, because I actually really liked Fell, because he was a lot like me in a lot of ways.
Cool.
And then I'll just go through two more of these people that are really, really important, which are Thrickster and Boulder. Thrickster is way more controversial because we recently had to get him to back up. And that was a call that was horrible to make, because Thrickster, we're going to talk about kind of team dynamics, and Thrickster was the core of our team. It was me in the beginning, it was me, it was Mile, it was Thrickster. And Thrickster's been on our team since Open, and recently we had to move him to backup once we got like 3 games into Invite. So, do we want to talk about this, Mile? Do you think you want to talk about why we did that? I think we should.
Briefly, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, the biggest thing for us was that, I mean, we basically came into the season knowing that we were going to be outclassed, but the thing with this team has always been improvement and like at a slow maybe pace, but at least some. And it was just clear that at the beginning of the season we weren't making any progress, and we're probably getting worse. So it's just something that we had to try. We just had to try to remedy our problems.
The 0-8 start to the season wasn't a shock, wasn't unexpected, but even in our scrims, we could tell we were either stagnating or getting worse, so kind of came to a point where we had to either make a roster change or just concede the rest of the season.
Yeah, like in the beginning of the season, we knew our place, and like we were beating most of the IM teams, and like we knew we were like a top IM team in invite, and then it got to a point where we were losing to like ranked number 10 teams in IM, and we were just getting worse.
Yeah. And like
It
that
definitely wasn't all Trickster. Like, we made a switch, Mile and Java switched roles, we picked up Fife. and
Yeah,
things
we changed a
were
lot
more
of
vocal
things.
and mumble. But we just
Exactly.
needed a fresh start, and unfortunately we had to cut someone to get it, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's extremely, and I wasn't on the team at this point, but
But you were still a huge part of that decision.
Yeah.
Basically everyone consulted you about that night.
yeah, that was incredibly rough, and like I can't even. It's hard to explain how much I love Trickster. Like, me and Nick went to a Atlanta LAN, and
Yeah, we met him.
I met Trickster. Like, I knew him in real life. I met Nick, and having to make that decision to go a different direction, and one that didn't involve someone that's been so crucial to our team and our success, is incredibly hard. And I can't even express how much love I have for Trickster and what he did for the team. So I just want to get that out there. And Boulder is significantly less important.
No.
Shots at John.
No, we always mess with Boulder. But Boulder is like one of the most genuine people you'll ever meet in TF2. He is incredibly talented at demo, and ironically, he and Trickster bashed heads constantly. Him and Trickster were in constant just fighting, and also me too. But I fight with everyone, so that's not as surprising. But Boulder and Trickster butted heads a lot, and it made improving incredibly hard. And also, so there was going to be a point at the end of one of the seasons where like either Trickster was going to have to leave or Boulder was going to have to leave, and Boulder ended up solving that problem for us by he at the time we were an IM team and we weren't going to get into invite next season. We knew we were going to be an IM again, and Boulder got an offer from, was it Pinball Wizards? Was that the team he was
I
on?
think so.
I think
sound
Boulder at the time was like looking.
No,
to
he
play an
ended up
invite
backing
team.
up for it. Too.
Yeah. And then
Oh,
he ended up backing
yeah.
up, and then
And then
he ended up starting
One
at
of those
one point.
various one-off invite teams.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
that, and like that's something I can't like. What? Oh, okay. So what happened with Boulder was the season ended, and he knew that either Trickster or Boulder were going to have to leave, or Trickster or him were going to have to leave to have success, and he was extremely stand up about it, and he made a looking thread. But even though he was looking and he was trying to make that decision, he's trying to kind of fix that issue without us having to, like decide between the two of them. And even though he was looking, he was still scrimming with us every day to make sure that we were the best we could be. And he was still with us until we found a new demo. Like, he is an incredible person. Like, Boulder is amazing, and it's a shame we couldn't play with him for longer, honestly. And that's kind of all I got about past players. So thanks to all of you.
It does
I gotta
sound
say-
like you guys need a. Well, go ahead.
I just gotta say, Chanel too.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
yeah.
shout out to Schnell, definitely.
Oh,
We don't have to go in depth about that, but
Well, I want to
at
say one
least
thing about
mention
Schnell.
him.
I want to say one thing about Schnell, because does anyone else remember how we found Schnell? Because I say the word found because we literally found him. Does anyone remember?
No.
Just DM servers or something.
Yeah. He was he aliases constantly, and there was just this guy in a DM server that was absolutely killing us. Like, he was just destroying me, and this was probably middle of Open or IM. I forget when Snow actually joined, but
Even
he
when
was
I
just
joined. So, like, the second
Yeah.
season of IM.
yeah, like he was just destroying us in them, and in like the XTV DM server, and I just invited him to our Mumble, had a conversation, and then he was on the team. So that's kind of interesting. So that definitely needs to be mentioned. And Snell was our DM guy for a long time, and he was very good. So yeah.
Okay.
Still very good. He's on Dunn's team, right?
Oh yeah.
They're first than I am right now.
I wouldn't be surprised if they won it. So.
Well, maybe you'll have some more competition moving up in invite then. But Schwan, it sounds like there's definitely a style of team management where you've got the one guy who's trying to push everybody in a certain direction. Everybody else is kind of like more playing on the team and has another role. So can you talk about like managing a team and how you go about it?
Yeah. So the most important part is I had Mile through all of this, and also Thwixter. Sadly, Thwixter is not here right now, and I kind of wanted him to be, but he's not. That's okay. But the way that I go about a team, like for the first part, is you've got to get the core down. Like I knew that I needed people that were going to be with me no matter what, and like I knew Mile. Like once I sold Mile on the fact that we needed to start fresh, I knew Mile wasn't going to leave me for whatever opportunity is marginally better than what my opportunity is. So I can't express that enough. And that's why we talked about pugging for a while. Is it's so important to meet people, to have, so when you actually start to make a team, you can actually find someone that you trust to start a team that has lasting effect. And also, I believe besides that, the next most important thing is having a common goal for the team each season you start to play. So ever since we started Vector, the goal was we need to be improving, and we need to never stop improving. It doesn't necessarily matter how slow or how fast we're improving, but we need to be improving, and we need to get results that are reasonable. So no one ever said, like when we made the team, and me and Mile were past IM players, and we picked up Thwixter for the core, who is also, he's been in the scene forever. I'm sure a lot of people know Thwixter. So it would have been extremely easy for us to say, hey, you know what, we should win Open. Because we already had 3 IM players, so our expectations, especially, it would have been easy to say, you know what, we should probably win Open, because we're technically not even in this league, but we didn't. We said we need to get up there, but it's not important. We need to figure out our team. And the reason that's so important is that's how I was able to get people like Boulder and people like Fell on the team. It's because I was able to say, and like those players were at the time when I picked up Boulder and Fell, those people were much better than we were at the time. But I was able to sell them because we had a team with a proven track record of staying together and with a common goal that was reasonable. So anyone, and also we were all friends and we all liked each other, and our environment is extremely positive. I would say when we're scrimming, I'm pretty negative in all reality, but outside of that, we're all friends. Like we're competitive when we scrim, but we're all friends, and so it's that bargaining chip of just the consistency, compared with or combined with the common goals, that makes finding new players extremely easy. Because who's going to say no to a solid team that they can grow with? You know what I mean? Anything you can add to that, Mile?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing, so it might sound like we're all business and no fun, but a lot of that fun is just derived from being friends with who you're playing with and having fun outside of TF2 as much as inside of it, so...
I think what's
that
fun, anyone playing competitively is going to take it a little seriously, but what's fun is getting that sense of that improvement and not feeling like you're wasting your time every time you sign on at night, so...
Yeah. And that's the thing. So, it was always... So, there's a lot of teams out there who their only goal is, okay, we want to have fun. No matter what, we want to have fun in every match, in every scrim. If we're not having fun, we're doing it wrong. And there's nothing wrong with that common goal. It's just if they pick up somebody who's like me and, needs to improve and needs to win to have fun, because I'm out of my fucking mind, if they pick up someone like me, that is, directly... That goes against exactly what I was saying, which is you need to keep people with the same mindset, otherwise your team will tear apart.
Yeah, UKM's team this season, they were in the invite poll, and they asked not to be in it because they didn't want to take that seriously, and that's fine, I think. I didn't have a problem with that.
Yep, that's a perfect example.
But then AG came in this season, they wanted to take it seriously, and near the end of the season they just completely fizzled out.
Exactly, and and that's where the common goals come in. The second anyone doesn't have the same exact goal as the next guy next to them is when I feel you've completely failed choosing the roster for your team.
Yeah, and it's what 3 days after regular season ended, and a third of the roster is already left. And I think they both said they weren't having fun with it, so there's obviously something going on there.
Oh, AG?
Exactly.
Yeah, AG.
Wow.
So you guys, obviously, your goal is just very different. Then when you formed the team, you said let's just make the goal to improve and let's have some fun with it. But let's not worry if we necessarily win games. There are teams out there who, after they win a season, AG is an example, but there are plenty of them that do break up. So what? I guess is it the common goal? It's just so different. Is it like, oh, we don't have to win, that's okay? What's the secret sauce to staying together?
Yeah, well, it's definitely. Well, I mean, it's kind of a combination of everything we talked about. Like, you need to have that solid core that's not going to leave no matter what, because there were times we probably cut down to our core, especially in like the open IM area, where it's just like, okay, we cut like 2 people, and like all we have left is like me, Thrickster, Mile, and someone else. So like like your team, like the core is extremely important, and then the common goals are important. Like if I were to start another team. Even though I don't have time these days, I would probably start a team in IM, and I would say, okay, the goal is to have fun every single time. And I would ask everyone that I pick up, what are you going to do when the season ends? And that's something I did with everyone I picked up. Like, if this season ends and we're in X position, what do you think you would be, more likely to do? And with everyone that I picked up, it's like, well, if we're improving. If we're improving and this team shows promise, I'm not leaving. And even if there were better players that came to me, and there were some better players that came to me and were like, okay, well, and they answered that question truthfully, and they said, okay, well, if we're doing badly, it's not likely that I'll stick around. And if I picked that person up, they would have left, and then I'd be right back to where I started, and I would have wasted all the time that I could have been spending building someone up who was going to actually stay with the team. So like choosing the correct people and finding out, and most of the times no one tells you. You just kind of like got to take your gut and kind of what you feel they're going to do. But you gotta be a good judge of character and decide who's going to stick around and who isn't.
It just goes hand in hand with picking the people who are same goals, same skill level, people who are you can quote unquote find yourself being friends with in the long term. It's really important. I mean, we created a family here, and that was something that I recognized right away when I joined this team like 4 seasons ago. Was these are a group of people who seem like they're friends first and a team second, and that's important.
Yeah.
And now this is my 3rd team with Dougie, my 2nd team with Fife, my 2nd team with Java. So even though there's a core at the start, it's not like they're shedding their roster completely. They're slowly implementing people. And this season we had enough of a core built up with Mile, Nick, and Dougie and Thrick that Schwan was able to leave, and it wasn't devastating.
Well, let's talk about that. Schwan, you left. Why'd you leave?
Yeah. So I started a team with Mile, blah blah blah. But I left because it's actually like it sounds horrible now, but I left because I got a job at a restaurant. Like it's nothing exciting. It's like I got a job at a restaurant, and the thing that sucks is the restaurant is a bar as well. It's like a sports bar and like family restaurant kind of combo. It's like suburban standard restaurant. And the problem is the bar is open till 2 in the morning, and I close the restaurant normally. So like I'll get there at 4. Yeah, exactly. So I'll get there at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, and then I won't leave till 2 in the morning, 2:30 or so. So, and the worst part about working at a restaurant, as I'm sure a lot of people might relate to, is that you don't know what days you're working until the week before. So when we won the invite poll and we knew we were getting into invite, I had to look at that situation and say, like, okay, well, am I really gonna tell Banny that we can't play on this day? We gotta play on this day, like. Sometimes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I could be working every single time. And like, am I gonna really argue with like the best teams in North America and I guess the world now because we won that thing? Or is that too far? I don't really know.
Not too far at all, dude.
Okay, so
rub it in.
Yeah, So am I going to tell like the best teams in the world at TF2, hey, we can't play on Monday. How about you kick our ass on Thursday? You know, because we're going to lose, and no one had any doubts about that. So it's complete. Like, it would be a scheduling nightmare, and also, even if I could schedule the matches, there's no way I could practice, which is more important anyway. So if I was working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I can't scrim Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I also can't have a match then, so I just can't play TF2 anymore.
Okay, so you had to leave because of your schedule, which is understandable. It happens a lot with gaming. Are you ever coming back, man?
I don't know. My schedule, the more I've worked at the restaurant since it's called I worked since last October of last year, and the more I've been working, the more regular my schedule seems to get. So if I ever get my schedule to a point where it's regular and I can predict when I'm going to be working, I think I'll probably try to work something out. And I might. What I really want to do now is I don't want to impose myself on Vector, because I feel like they are in a better place now. And I like me coming in, like, what am I going to do? Like, cut fucking Jay? No, you know. So if I were to come back, I would really want to I want to find the people that are of quality, and I would want to provide them with a stable team and a stable sponsor to make it to the next level of TF2. So I would want to find people that want to get somewhere and then help them get there. So whether that's like starting like an open team or an IM team and just getting the right people that are motivated and just providing an environment for them that's successful in the end, that's something that I would really like to do.
Okay, well, one last question then. Let's talk about that sponsorship. Vector Gaming. How did you get it? Why did you get it?
Yeah, so that's... Man, so the weird thing about the Vector sponsor is I had no idea that Vector was a sponsor, or who Vector was, and I get a message from, oh god, Mile, who's that team that was like famously kind of terrible, but they had that sponsor forever? And it was like, was it Snowblind Frog? No. No. Who was it?
I don't remember.
Oh god.
No pressure. No pressure.
We should have prepared for this.
Yeah, we should. Actually, okay, here's what it was. It was Ace. Does anyone remember? You remember Ace?
Oh
Sal?
my god!
I don't think I was there for that.
I remember them.
Yeah.
Okay. So Ace had a pug group, and it was terrible. I mean, let's not joke around. It was terrible. Ace.
That was like Ducky in them, right?
Yeah.
Ducky,
we'll get to Ducky. We'll get to Ducky. So if anyone knows Ace, they definitely know them because Ace had a horrible pug group. They also had SIVO teams that did miserably, but they had like this community. It wasn't even like a competitive sponsor, just like it was the Ace community. They happened to have a Sixes team, and I happened to meet Ducky on like, I don't know, a DM server, and he saw our team and like we were doing pretty well and we were pretty stable, and he told me about this man named Psycho. And he told me that I should probably message him because he's looking for a sponsor. So apparently Ace Ducky made a team and he knew Psycho, so Vector sponsored like some weird variation of Ace. And then when they died, one of the people from that team suggested that I talk to their old sponsor. So I just want to give mad props to Ducky, who I don't even have on my friends list anymore. But he is the one who gave me the introduction to Psycho, and that's how we knew Psycho. And then
Sort of a funny story too, because I was in Oshkosh at the time. So a friend of mine and I had flown to Oshkosh. It's a big air show in Wisconsin.
I think we should mention Miles a pilot.
Something like that.
Go on.
So I was in
that's
Oshkosh.
Like really
and,
impressive. Maybe
and
someone
then
else does.
And then I come back and we're sponsored by Vector. So Schwan was doing all this by himself.
Yeah, and I think this part is, if you are an open team or like an IM team, like start listening right now, because the way I got the Vector sponsorship, and this is why we kind of talked about things in the order we talked about things, is it was all reliant on the people we picked up and the values that we had. So when I sat down, so what I did was, if anyone's talking to a sponsor, get them in Mumble, period. You know, get them in Mumble. If they don't know what that is, get them in Skype. Get them in a raid call. I don't care. Talk to them. with your voice. And what ended up happening was, I think, Nick, were you there for the negotiations?
I
feel like you were.
I think I might have.
I think Boulder definitely was.
I remember, didn't they spec us or something?
No. So what ended up happening was, I got into a Mumble. I convinced Psycho to get into Mumble with me because I think I emailed him at first, and we were like emailing back and forth. I'm like, fuck this. Like here's the IP to our Mumble. Let's have a discussion. So I started talking at the time, and this is going to sound hilarious to some, but tf2logs.com was a site that wasn't a slow piece of garbage. At some point, it's going to be hard for people to believe, but at some point that site was really cool. And it was extremely innovative because you could see, when you upload a log, everyone could see, who you beat in a scrim last night, what your KD was and whatever. And I was one of the pioneers of that website, and I made a video that was like, oh, here's how you install the plugin that gets like the damage stat and whatever for TF2 logs. So I had more logs uploaded than anyone else on that website, and I also named them. So most people are too embarrassed about their scrims. Like, oh shit, we lost to like this team we probably shouldn't have lost to. Like if we upload this log, let's just upload it as like, random garbage so no one can see what we did. But when I upload the log, I'm always just like Vector versus and then whatever their team was. And whether we got our ass kicked or we kicked ass, I uploaded that log. And our logs were, our team was like, or my logs were the most viewed on that entire website. So whether that mattered or not, I used that in a discussion in a big way. I was like, hey, listen, man, like so I just kind of expressed to him that there was interest in Vector and people were interested in what we were doing in scrims. Which, I mean, if someone's interested in your matches, that's one thing. If someone's interested in like seeing who you were beating in practice, that's another thing. So I think that had something to do with it. But also, he got to meet me, he got to meet Boulder, and I don't know if it's a shame Boulder's not here because Boulder is an extremely personable guy, and him talking to me and Boulder, we were able to sell him on our idea and our vision for Vector, and then once we were able to do that and show him that there was like community interest in our team. He sponsored us that night. So that would be my advice to anyone, is to get him a Mumble and have a clear, concise vision and be able to show interest in some way.
Okay, well, of course, that's pretty much all it is, man. It's salesmanship, and it sounds like each team, if they want that sponsor, they're going to have to work some connections, find some avenues of self-promotion, maybe, if I'm not being too...
No, absolutely.
And all of you say there are probably like 5 less teams that are actually sponsored, and I can guarantee we're the only one that's been sponsored for 4 or 5 seasons now. So
yeah, that's another thing I want to mention is Vector sponsored us when we were in. Was it Open Mile?
I think it might have been our first intermediate season.
Yeah. So they stuck with they were giving us a server. They were giving us this Mumble server. They were giving us league fees. And they were giving one of our players premium. So I guess that's kind of important because and also I did not talk to Psycho ahead of time. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what we got or not, but I did. So that's what we got. And I feel like we're gonna have another episode on more this subject in more detail, but it's important to understand the value that you provide a sponsor, which is very little in all actuality. And it's okay if they're just going to pay your league fees, or they're going to give you a server, or like they don't have to pay all your premium, all your league fees, give you a server. Like, make sure that what you're getting is in proportion to the quality of team you are. And that also, like, I'm sure that if I push the issue and like I tried to get Vector to pay for all of our premium and our league fees, that they probably would have stopped sponsoring us pretty quickly because we don't provide that level of value to them. I'm sure. I don't know that for a fact.
I'd be surprised if any team in TF2 does at this point.
Yeah, I mean that's the larger issue. Is can you even, help a sponsor get that money back? But we don't provide that level of value, and especially at that time, we certainly didn't. So having terms that are reasonable to what your position is extremely important, and important to longevity as well.
Okay, well, I'm pretty much satisfied here. Of course, you guys are going to have another video. When is that going to be coming up?
Yeah, so we're planning on doing a video with Sal and Nahani and Psycho, and we want to talk about the sponsorship landscape and kind of, what it's turned into, and also how to be successful with sponsors. So how to properly represent someone, how to not embarrass your sponsor, how to make sure that you're providing content and that is of value to them. So we're gonna have a talk with Nahani, who sponsors AG. We're gonna have a talk with Psycho, who sponsors Vector, and I believe Nahani's gonna bring in someone who's looking to sponsor questions from him or her, and kind of see what goes in the video. So look forward to that.
Well, I absolutely am. Thank you guys so much for the interview. It's been excellent talking to you guys and learning all about Team Vector, your journey up towards Invite, and I do hope to see some big things from you guys coming up in the next couple of seasons. Do I have any predictions from you on how soon you're going to finally make it to LAN, or if you ever will?
I think someone that's currently on the team should take that one.
I think we've sort of we don't have any like firm plans or hopes, but I think a reasonable goal would be maybe 2 seasons we would be close, and maybe the 3rd season from now we could probably hope to actually have a real shot.
Okay. It's
There you have it.
a long time horizon, but you guys do, I guess, since you've got the method of slow, continuous improvement, maybe it's just it's going to take that long to finally break that upper tier of Invite. I expect to see it, though, personally. So thanks once again, guys. I'm going to go ahead and shut things down. We have, of course, been watching in the background you guys' amazing win against Fully Torqued on Gravel Pit. It was an excellent game to watch. And I hope to see a lot more from you in the future. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sal.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.